some empowering suggestions. Some people call it an affirmation, a declaration, these are names, but there's also depowering words and statements and suggestions. So you have, and a suggestion is a statement in any kind of an idea or thought, thought form. And what you see is that the mind is, what would you say, designed for fear. It's like, it's a reptilian mind. That's not us, but that, I would say that you could call that the unconscious. And that's where subliminal program operates, or hypnotic trance, because it bypasses the conscious mind and the whole information and everything connected with it, the meanings and such that we have been, we have accepted, or at some level unconsciously perhaps, whatever. So anyway, you want empowering suggestions, not that you have to be working in the realm of positive and negative, not really. You want to transcend positive and negative, because every positive has a negative and every negative has a positive. And that is how the duality operates. Duality, you see, keeps the fighting go of scarcity, fear, lack, death, loss, all of this kind of thing. And you're not good enough. And that one, that's a program is in there very strong, the not enough, scarcity. You're not good enough, because if you were good enough, then others would love you, you'd get what you want, you got to go here, all this stuff. It's all the mind. And that's what happens when people, when someone says you're out of your mind, that's good. Say, thanks, I've been working on it. You don't need to be in the mind. So everything's then directed towards thinking, analyzing, figuring out. And a lot of these are very destructive to us, depowering, disempowering, impoverishing and everything to us, because they're suggestions. And here's the deal. You have to experience yourself, in a sense, as a clean slate. There's nothing written on you in that sense. You're already who you are. It doesn't mean you don't exist. It's just a bleep on a computer screen. Who you are is already whole, complete, and perfect, with a specific individuality. This is how it goes, who you are, state of being. And when I experienced being in the light, in that light place, not going to the light, but leaving your body, is a whole different being. It was like the light, the Brahmajyoti, you would say, between the material world and the spiritual, that light center. And that's a state of beingness, that's bliss, but there is no real variation in the sense of what would you say, the fullness of who and what we are. That's an aspect, you see, and you want the fullness of who you are. So I choose the fullness of who I am. I choose to be the fullness of who I truly am. You see, now that is an empowering suggestion. I am able to accomplish anything I desire to accomplish with ease and joy, you see. Now, what happens is, in order to accept empowering suggestions, you have to be willing for that. And that willing is an acceptance, a knowing beyond doubt. And like my teacher, Haridas Shastriji, and when I was living in India and studying, he's a great, Vedic teacher, had written over 85 translations of the ancient Sanskrit into Hindi and Bengali. Of course, I don't understand any of those. But anyway, so I got to be there in the English and all of that sort of thing. That the most empowering thing is the suggestions of hearing and knowing what our real nature is. And that it is so far beyond what you're taught in the mundane world and what's just going on, which is basically all local traffic and a whole bunch of programming, without understanding and knowing that we are the We are the manifester. We are the, you might call, creator being. We are divine beings. We're, that's who we really are. And we can play all these different roles, and we have all these powers and abilities. So unless you know why you're depowering yourself, what you get out of that, and are choosing it, you can't really empower yourself. And that's, some people say, well, I don't want to hear how I'm depowered. Well, it's happening all the time, continuously in the time game, to keep you playing and energizing the time game by giving your oxygen even energy to the mind to generate it, instead of feeding yourself. You see, yes, who you are. You see, and if you don't, so notice that. So empowering suggestions. Every moment I am feeling better and better. I'm an eternal being, and I'm fully here in the now. And then as you get to realize that what you need for what you need to do for your work, and what works for you, for your spiritual life as well, first, and all of that, then that comes to you. We can attribute it to this or that, but it's like, I like God, and I'm talking about my beloved partner, is my opulent, constant source and supply. There's nothing for me to worry about ever again. All is well, you see. Now, what happens is the mind's going to say, are you crazy? That's not true. Because your mind wants to attack you. It's not saying, oh, I'm so proud of you. I'm so happy you're happy. It's like, yeah, but just you wait. Ta-da. I'm really scared. Okay. So this is it. And it's either now or never. And it's always now. And now that you know, and it's who you are, activate all of your powers and your abilities. I choose and I activate. I choose to, and I ask my divine. And after a while, you don't ask, because the divine knows what you have need of before you ever ask, because you are in such harmony with yourself and with you and me. We are already unified. You don't got to become one. We're already unified. We're all from the same fabric. And and we're all individual aspects. Each of us our own, person. Always. And when I was in that light, I was still conscious of myself being me. Not my mind, not any of that, in a state of awareness and bliss, you see. And yes, so what you want is, you want to have it all. And you already are all, but you want to also realize all that you are, you see. And so that is how you use empowering suggestions. And if they're depowering suggestions, I don't care where they're coming from, say, no, I don't agree, I don't consent. Don't agree to depowering suggestions. And then ask the divine to bring forth all that's in your unconscious and make it conscious. And therefore you can let go of all the layers of ignorance, empowering yourself more and more and more, so fully present. Anchored there, we're in the earth, in the divine, tuning in, listening within ourselves, acknowledging our unity. Together, we're already there, consciously being who we are in every single moment. Breathing it in and letting it go.